This is my prototype project for Mechanical Engineering 2900. This is called the Bike Safety System. It features two turn signals that allow you to activate turn signal lights in the back to let drivers behind you know that you're going to be making a turn. These are automatically turned off by measuring the tilt of the bike through the use of an accelerometer down here. And that just measures when the bike is tilted into a turn, and when it comes out of that turn, it automatically turns off the lights, which you'll see in a bit. There are two pads at the on the brake handles here, and those activate the brake lights in the back when pressed. And then finally, there's an ultrasonic sensor back here underneath the seat, and that displays how close objects behind the bike are, such as cars that could be driving behind the vehicle, or driving behind the bike when the rider is on the street. And then there's the LCD screen, which displays a bar graph of how close an object behind the bike is. It also has indicators for the turn signals and also for the brakes. So the first thing you do to activate the system is to plug it into the battery. There's a small battery pack in here that powers the entire system, and that's connected to the Arduino through this wire. So you simply plug that wire into the battery pack. You can see everything starts lighting up. Now what you'll notice first is that these lights are blinking, and you can also see lights blinking back here. And now they just stopped. What that is doing is that's basically warning the user to move the bike to a vertical position, because what the accelerometer does after those are done blinking is measure what a vertical position for the bike is in terms of the acceleration of gravity. And that is what is used to determine when the bike is tilting and turning, and when it has come out of the turn to deactivate the turn signals. So let's say I want to make a left turn. I would activate the left turn signal. It starts blinking, and then if I adjust my brightness here, you can see the LCD screen, and there's a little triangle blinking there as well. If we come back out and adjust the brightness again, come take a look, and we can see the left turn signal activating. And so when the bike is turning, the accelerometer will detect a tilt like this. Turn signal is still active. And then as soon as we return to the vertical position, the turn signals turn off. And the lights are off back here, and the LCD screen is off. And we can do the same for the right turn signal. So it activates there. You can come down, take a look at the LCD screen, and you can see a blinking arrow in the right corner. And then we can come to the back, and you'll see the right turn signal blinking. And then same thing, if the bike was turning, it would tilt like this, and it could come back up, and the lights would turn off. Okay, so now let's talk about how the brakes work. So if we look at the front here, you can see that there's a force-sensitive resistor there, and there is also a force-sensitive resistor on that brake. And so when I press these, we can take a look at the LCD screen here. And you'll see the words brake pop up on screen, or brakes. And that happens for the left, and then I'm going to move over to the right. Same thing happens for the right. And what those force-sensitive resistors are doing are actually measuring the amount of force that is required to actually activate the brake. So it won't actually do anything if I'm just barely pressing on it, but as soon as it starts moving, that's when it'll activate. And if we look at the back here, when I'm pressing the brake light turns on. And it'll be a little more clear when you can, if you look at the wires right here, those are the brake wires in the back wheel, and you can see that they'll move when the brake light turns on as well. So that's how the brake light on the LCD screen, that the turn signals will make triangles appear in the corners, and the words brakes will pop up when you press on the brakes. But this bar in the middle is what works with the ultrasonic sensor. So what the ultrasonic sensor is doing is it's sending out a high-pitched frequency, and it's measuring that signal and how long it takes to return to it. and based on that, it'll display, or it can interpret a distance. And so what this bar is doing is basically showing you how close an object is behind the bike. So right now, since I'm in my dorm room, it's a little hard for it to get a signal out. So the bar is near high, which means an object is pretty close behind you, which would be as expected. But if I put my hand in front of it, you can see it increase a little bit from where it is currently. So here's a better look at what the ultrasonic sensor is doing. So I've moved the bike out of my dorm room and into our main room, which has a little more space behind it, and you can see that it has dropped significantly. And if I quickly put my hand behind it, it increases. But what I'm going to do now is show you how me walking closer will make the bar slowly increase. So let's take a look at that. I'm at the furthest distance now. What you should see is as I walk closer, the bar should slowly increase until it reaches its maximum when I'm right next to it. And now I've stepped away from it, so it drops back down. We can also take a look at the inside of the box here. So if I have my flashlight here, so open that up, you can see the LCD screen is just mounted to a proto board. Here's the battery pack that sits within there, and it just has a space cut out for that wire to go into. We have a breadboard with all of the wiring that I'm doing. There's a shift register there. And then there's also the Arduino board, which you can see the cord is going in right there, and that's how you power the Arduino. And you can see all my pins and connections there.